that was the best part of the day. Some of you know the story of why we're having this occasion. Some of you don't. I appreciate everybody being here. My wife and I had a guessing game as to how many there are going to be. I think I won. 4 years ago, last October, the church orchestra here had a 35th anniversary performance. And in the preparation for that, we pulled out a number that we played on the 30th anniversary, 5 years before. And I was working up the practice schedule for that. And it got harder and harder to play some of the notes, some of the processional of the notes. And it finally got to the point where when I was trying to play octaves in both hands, which was a lot, I was using one hand and this thumb, because the rest of the hand just wouldn't work. Wouldn't work to my satisfaction, and it really didn't work at all. We thought I might have had a stroke, or a stroke TIA. So I scheduled a visit to the doctor after the performance. He said, "No, you didn't have a stroke, you got Parkinson's." I knew how to spell it, but I didn't know anything more about it. Well, I've learned a whole lot about it in the 4+ years that I've been recognized as being a victim, culprit, patient. And one of the things that we learned was that when I started taking one of the medications about a year ago, it seemed to relax the impediments to the playing. So I started working up trying to regain 50 years worth of neglect and not practicing diligently for those 50 years. And began to regain some of the dexterity, not all of it. There are days when it feels like 90%, there are days when it feels like a -2. And if you have Parkinson's, you know exactly what I mean. But I determined that I was going to fight back. Some of you have the little card that I gave out with that address of the place and the picture of the surrounding neighborhood. I call it Parkinson's War. I figure I'm losing the war. I'll never be free of Parkinson's. But I intend to fight and win this battle. It may be temporary. I may not play well tomorrow. I may not play well today. And I'm determined, on the advice of several experts in the field, just laugh if I make mistakes and to keep on going. And I assure you, if you knew these pieces I'm going to play, you would say, "Oh, what did he do?" But I picked out things that I liked, that I knew, some of them straight out of my freshman year in college. And you have a feeling for when that was. It was not recent. And so there's some muscle memory involved, and there's a lot of working the same measure 99 times. And the 100th time, it doesn't sound like I ever started in the right place. It's just one of those things that Parkinson's does for you. But you know, if it weren't for Parkinson's, I wouldn't know some of you. And I'm so glad you came. You honor all of us who have Parkinson's by encouraging us. Nancy, in her announcing the classes, would say, "Come to support him." You've done that. I appreciate it. Some of what I'll play today is classical in my preferred area, but also a couple of pop songs from my generation. Kids today wouldn't ever know these pieces. And some hymns. Some of you may not know that I was an organist here in this church for plus 20 years. There's no organ, so I'm not an organist anymore. But somewhere for the last 60 years I've been playing in somebody's church. And so there'll be a few hymns here and there. I could probably talk another 10 minutes, but I'm not going to. There's a lot of story that goes with this. But I appreciate you being here. I'll tell you a little bit about some of the numbers. Has Tanya come?
Yep.
There you are. There's a reason for my asking. Tanya was instrumental in setting up a session hour for Robert on the front row here and me to do a little jam session on every Wednesday morning. And it's sanctioned, so we get to go and we get to play and we get to play what we want to play and enjoy it. People come in and listen to us and some of them enjoy it. You know, it's just a matter of taste. So I'm going to play something that Tanya will recognize, and some of the rest of you will too. I'm encasing this whole program, Bach to Bach. You'll understand.